Hello children. Today we are going to learn about coagulation of blood. If any injury happens, the blood will bleed for some time from the wound. Again, it automatically stops on its own. How it stops? What are the reactions going to stop the bleeding? And what happens if the bleeding happens continuously without clotting? So, if the bleeding happens continuously, there is a loss of blood in the person, it may lead to some other health hazards. So, it must stop. Means the blood must clot. So, the clotting of a blood is useful to us. But how it happens? Means with the help of the vitamin K. Vitamin K, the blood will clot. So, let us go into deep about this discussion. When a person occurs an injury, the blood will flow for some time. Then the platelets, after injury, the platelets which are present in the blood, they release an enzyme called thrombokinase. They release an enzyme called thrombokinase. These thrombokinase enzyme act on the prothrombin and convert into thrombin. This prothrombin is also another substance of the blood. So the thrombokinase act as on prothrombin and convert into thrombin. This thrombin again act on another substance called fibrinogen. Act on fibrinogen and convert into fibrin. It's an insoluble fibrin. So, because of these fibrin, the fiber, these are nothing but they form like a fibers. These fibrin fibers are attached from one end to other end of the wound and entangle the solid particles of the blood in the fibrin fibers. So, only the liquid portion will come out for some time and again it also stops. So, in this way the coagulation of blood takes place. So, here the platelets act mainly for the blood to clot. This fibrin fiber forms a layer and stops the solid particles and releases some liquid portion of the blood. We call it as serum. The light yellow color liquid portion of the blood, we call it as the serum. Here the vitamin K is also very useful for the blood to clot. There is a blood disorder called hemophilia. Means a person who is suffering with vitamin K, deficiency of vitamin K, the blood coagulation does not take place fast. So, in that situation, the persons must take the vitamin K food. It is an inherited disorder. Means the persons who are married with their closely related relatives may occur this hemophilia disorder. And there is another disorder, blood inherited disorder called thalassemia. It is also inherited disorder. So till now we have learned about how the blood transportation takes place in the human beings. Now we are going to discuss about the transportation of nutrients or gases in the plants. Already you have learned in the previous classes how the transportation of nutrients or gases takes place in the plants, that is through the xylem and phloem. The xylem vessels helps in the transportation of water, whereas the phloem helps to transport the nutrients in the plant. Not only this, even the stomata which are present in the leaves also helpful for the gases exchange and for the process of transpiration also. So let us learn how the absorption of water from the soil takes place. If you see, these are the xylem vessels which are present in the roots, and these are the epidermal cells of the roots. If you see, if you take a root and observe, you can observe the small root hairs, small hair-like structures present on the roots called root hairs. They help in the absorbing the water. Here each and every cell of the root hair act as helps in the absorption of water by the process called osmosis. Means absorption of water from lower concentration to the higher concentration. Again, if you see, these are the soil particles which are surrounding the root hairs. Means these are the root hairs which are present in the soil. These are the soil particles. When you pour water, what happens? The salts which are present in the soil are dissolved with the water. Means the concentration of salts are decreased. Here the concentration, after pouring the water, the concentration of salts are diluted. Whereas here when compared to water, the cell sap has more concentrated salt solution when compared to outer soil particles. Here solvent concentration is less in the soil, whereas the cell sap contains more concentration. Then the epidermal cells act as the semi-permeable layer for absorbing the salts from the soil. The outer cells which are present near the epidermal cells absorb that salts along with the water. Means here it acts, the outer layer act as a semi-permeable, and the water get absorbed into cells. Then the cells are more concentrated, means having less diluted salt solution, but the content of the water is more when compared to the adjacent cells. Then this water is transferred and absorbed by the next cell by the process again osmosis with the help of the outer layer called cell membrane. So in this way, from one cell to another cell, the water is get absorbed or transferred from one cell to another cell, and it reaches until xylem vessels. When it reaches the xylem vessels, again it is transported through the xylem vessels to all parts of the plant. Here the water concentration is more, but the salt concentration is less, whereas the cell sap contain water concentration less and salt concentration is more. So the osmosis process takes place, and the water and salts are absorbed from one cell to another cell and reaches the all parts of the plant through xylem tissues. So this is the process how the transportation takes place in the plants. For that we are going to do an activity. Take a potted plant, cut the stem of the plant. It means it should not contain any leaves here till here. It is the stem part. For this you have to insert the glass rod. This is a glass rod. With the help of the clamp or stand, insert means take a support of the stand and keep this glass rod. Attach this glass rod and stem with the help of the rubber tube. You have to keep it tightly and pour some water to the potted plant. Then what happens? It absorbs the water. Same, just now I explained it. The water, when we are pouring for some water, the salts which are present in the soil are diluted when compared to root, means cell sap. This water is transferred from one cell to another cell. One cell to the another cell and reaches the xylem vessels. After reaching the xylem vessels, what happens? It will get transferred to the different parts of the plant. But we have cut it. You have cut the stem and fixed with the glass tube. Before there is no water. After pouring, because of the transportation, osmosis, the water gets transferred and you can see here. Means the water are absorbed in the glass tube. We can see some amount increase in the level of the glass tube. So by this, in this way, the water is transferred from one cell to the another cell. By this experiment, we can conclude that the plants, how the transportation takes place. Here you can make a mark of the water level and note the reading. This is the process. It is called root pressure. We call it as root pressure. Why? Because the roots are absorbing the water and transported to the stem, and through the stem it is again transported to different parts. So we call it as root pressure. This is an important topic for 4 marks question. These two, the transportation in plants, concentration, how the concentration is there present, means the concentration of salt solutions and concentration of water. Remember it carefully. If you have any doubts, ask me again. It is very important, these two topics, and even the thalassemia and hemophilia, coagulation blood are important for 1 and 2 mark questions. So, see you in the next class, children, with another new topic.